Hello guys, how are you doing? Henry here, back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. David Pasipanodya. He is basically, a motivational speaker at heart, an inspirational speaker at heart. His life purpose and goal is to inspire others, which is the same. This is the same purpose that I have, which is to inspire you to reach your personal and career goals. And in this video, we're going to be discussing as well, at the core of it, in terms of his life journey, in particular, how he overcame his battle with, prostate cancer, and basically how, that sort of, changed his life course, and how he began, to inspire others, from that. So, David, thank you very much, sir, for joining me. Yes, sir.
Welcome. I'm excited to be here, and I'm ready to share my story. And I'm waiting for you to fire away.
Awesome, man. So you wrote this awesome book, Winning Attitudes. You guys can check it out. This book is available on the internet,
Amazon and Take a Lot.
Take a Lot as well, Fulfillment Center. So this is Winning Attitudes in the Face of Adversity, one man's journey with cancer. So Mr. David, I think people want to know, and I guess, it's also an important subject, these days, that we do face a lot of challenges, and these challenges, we don't apply for them. Some maybe we've got a hand in it. Some we don't definitely apply for them.
No.
So yes, tell us. Obviously, you were going about your life as as what you're doing those days.
Yes.
One day it was confirmed that you had this big challenge in front of you.
Yeah, in fact, it happened on the 1st of March 2011.
Wow.
And at that time, my wife and I were living in Australia, in Sydney. And I had just gone for some medical checkup.
Wow.
And they'd done some blood tests. And then on that fateful day, on the 1st of March, I went to see my urologist, who had the results of the tests, and got into his office. It was about 5 o'clock when I entered his office, and before I sat down, he said, "You have prostate cancer."
Wow.
And I froze.
Wow.
I stood in my tracks. I was close to his desk enough, at least I groped for the chair.
Wow.
And I found the chair and I sat down. And I said, "What does that mean?"
Wow.
I was confused. The only words that I could think of, what does that mean? So he went on to explain using a model of the prostate and whatnot, and explaining how the whole thing works, and then went on to say that my cancer was most likely a stage 4, and that maybe the cancer had already spread to other parts of my body. So he just freaked me out. I just, and so for a whole week after that day, I could hardly sleep.
So were you not feeling well? These were just routine checkups?
No, I was feeling very well. Perfect.
So literally the rug was swept under your feet.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the people who wrote that expression, I think they had, such experiences in mind. So they just say, this is what's going on, and then your life is turned upside down.
Yes. And then because I had 2 brothers who had died of cancer, the doctors and oncologists were saying, well, your chances of surviving this one are not very high. you know, and it was more or less like start getting ready, put your things together, you know. That's why, as I said, for a whole week I could hardly sleep, you know.
So there was no like, this is a possible treatment, this is the result was there. Okay, we can do this, but more likely 9 out of 10 times,
exactly,
this is not going to end well.
Exactly, because they use what they call a Gleason score as well, where on a scale from 1 to 10, the higher out of 10 it is, the more aggressive it is. So they said mine was 8/9 out of 10. And so you can imagine, you know,
80%.
Yes.
8 out of 10, like chances of not making it.
8 to 9 out of 10. Yes.
So 1 week you couldn't sleep.
1 week I could hardly sleep, 3 hours, 4 hours, if it was a good night. And then on the morning of this 6th day, I was lying there in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I started to ask myself these introspective questions. I said, who am I? What am I doing? How is it that I'm here in Australia, you know, thousands and thousands of kilometers away from my home?
Wow.
And then I realized I'm a coach, by the way. I'm here, I'm a coach. I got some clients, and I had feedback from my clients after I'd taken them through some coaching sessions, and many of them were saying, wow, you made a huge difference in our lives through our coaching sessions, especially when you were saying that it's not so much what happens to you, but how you choose to respond to what happens to you.
Wow, that's amazing. So already you're already like a life coach.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
during those days.
Yes, I was.
And now you have to, you know, this is something I always say, you know, to you know, with some of my friends, some of my colleagues, that, you know, our guys, you know, sometimes it's easy, you know, to just give people words of encouragement. It's easy to tell people, but you know what? When it happens in your neighborhood,
exactly,
man, it's different, and you get, and it shakes you up, you know, and I think it also helps us with empathy, you know, because sometimes it's easy to just say to people, you know, hey, get on with it. You know, but man, when you are faced, when it comes right into that neighborhood, man, it's a different ballgame.
Yes,
so now you are saying, you know, I've got clients and I tell them such and such in these scenarios, and
so in fact, what came to my mind was, if I were to tell my clients right now that I've been diagnosed with this kind of cancer, what would they say to me? You know? And the answer in my mind was loud and clear. Mr. Coach, it's time to coach yourself. It's time to walk the talk. You know?
Wow.
And so that was a turnaround in my thinking, in my mindset, because all those days since the diagnosis for that week, I was running away from fear. Fear was chasing me, you know? And I was absolutely scared.
Wow, I can imagine.
You know?
I can imagine, yeah.
And so I was choosing fear. Of course, unconsciously choosing fear.
Of course.
I was scared of dying. I dreamt myself being buried once or twice. And so after that, when I stopped in my tracks, I said, okay, it's not so much what happens to you. So how am I choosing to respond to this? So I have a choice to respond to this situation, right? Difficult as it is, life-threatening as it is, I have a choice.
Yeah, and I mean, you had all the statistics, you had all the facts, you had all the experiences. Your brothers that passed away.
Yes.
This is what it was. The professionals are telling you 8 out of 10 chances you're gone. This is the most, you know, this is high up there with the most aggressive forms of cancer.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, I think people could have even understood if you had just given up.
I'm sure. I'm sure they would have understood. But then I made a choice. Before the sun came up that morning, I decided I was going to walk this journey with cancer with a positive mindset.
Yes.
I had fear as my companion for that first week, and I said to myself, what is the opposite of fear? And the answer came to me that it was faith.
Wow.
And so I said, I'm going to live a life of faith, believing that it was possible to overcome this cancer, you know. And then as time went on, I, of course, decided how was I going, because I was in the personal development field anyway.
Yeah.
So how was I going to be able to find some system, some structure to help me? I was now coaching myself.
Yeah.
You know? And I remembered I'd come up with a program that I was thinking about, which I called Connecting with the Leader in You. So I said, well, I think I need to connect with the leader in me.
Wow.
And then see how this leader is going to lead me on a positive road. And I said to myself, even if I was going to die of cancer in the next 7 days or 1 month or 6 months or whatever, the one thing I was choosing to do was that I would come to the end of my life as much as possible. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but with a positive mindset. Because it was better to die positively than negatively.
Wow.
I didn't even know whether it was possible or not, but you know, I was just saying, this is the space in which I am, and the choices I have are these two choices, fear and faith. And if I'm choosing faith, then I have to go in there and find out how much I have to work inside the faith field and help myself to deal with this challenge.
Wow. Wow.
You know?
That's amazing. And that's so profound. And that's so profound to say, you know, whatever, no matter what the outcome, I'm going to choose the way I'm going to go out, number one. And I'm going to go out, you know, practicing, you know, or doing the work or putting in the inputs that are needed to get this positive result.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that's something which I think a lot of people, or you know, myself included, you know, if you're both, I mean, we are results driven. We want the results. But sometimes what you've seen is you don't control the time when the result is going to come.
Absolutely.
The only thing that you can control is the input. The only thing you can control is the seeds that you're sowing. That's the only thing you can control, you know, and the things that you're supposed to do. And I like that, like what you're saying, that, you know, you made a decision and just said, you know what, I'm just going to put in the inputs that are necessary for me to get a positive result. And that's a positive mind. And I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna search for all the information. And I'm going to apply everything concerning faith, you know, concerning positivity. I'm going to apply it. And whether it works or not in this case, but I'm going to apply these things.
Absolutely. It's like because I was in the space of personal development. So I was involved with goal setting quite a lot. And I remembered very well that I had come to understand that you have a goal, right? And the key thing was to focus. Once you identified and defined your goal, you now have to focus on the goal, right? You don't know when it's going to happen. Of course, you put a date, but 9 times out of 10,
the date might not work.
You know. But the key thing I had been told by my mentors, by people I was reading in terms of this area, that it's not about how this is going to happen and exactly when it's going to happen. But if you've got clarity on your goal, it's very clear, focus on it, right? Do affirmations on it. If you can create dream chests on it, create it so that you focus on what you want. And then that gets your mind locked into what you want.
Yeah.
You know? And then that drives your actions, that drives your feelings, and you've got a better chance of achieving what you set out to do.
Wow, man. No. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. So now you've changed your mindset. You say that you've asked yourself, hey, by the way, who am I? Then what were the next steps? In terms of do you now start looking into this treatment and say, okay, how best can I attack this?
Of course, I mean, the next thing was I'm going through treatment. Obviously, I have to. It wasn't going to be to help me at all, just say I'm going to be positive and then leave. So I was going to go through treatment.
Yeah.
But of course I had to be circumspect and say, what kind of treatment? How am I going to go through this treatment? Fortunately, my wife was studying natural health at the time. So was my daughter. So I decided, yes, I was going to go through the conventional method of treatment as well, but I was also going to incorporate natural health interventions.
Oh, wow.
And then I went through 18 months of treatment where I completely changed my lifestyle in terms of the food that I was eating. Everything completely changed. I consulted a lot of natural health experts like a naturopath, homeopath, an integrative doctor, besides my oncologist and my other conventional doctor that I consulted as a family doctor. And so I decided that I ended up going for radiation therapy as part of the conventional approach and what they call hormonal therapy, and then used a lot of natural health interventions as well in the process, a lot of supplements that I used in my treatment, but my diet completely changed. I stopped eating beef, I stopped eating chicken.
Meat lovers.
Because it was made very clear to me that the way they raise the beef and the cattle, especially for just the ordinary beef and chicken that you buy
the commercial
at the shop, the commercial one, they use hormones and steroids.
Sure, so it's going to interfere with
Yes. And so because they said prostate cancer as well as breast cancer are hormonal cancers, and so if I continue to feed on these hormonal meat products, then I was taking in those hormones into my body, and therefore I was feeding the cancer cells, and then they would thrive and multiply and whatnot.
So it was working.
Yes. So that was the reason why I had to stop taking beef, stop taking chicken, and focused on beans and fish.
And here you are.
Vegetables and fruits and
wow, guys! I know some of you guys are like, wow, but I guess if you have to do what you have to do. So, do the organic ones, are they better?
Yes, the organic ones.
The organic, like meat,
organic chicken.
but you need to be sure.
But you have to be sure.
Because it's branding, right?
You
have to be absolutely sure. You probably have to raise them yourself to know exactly what's going on.
Absolutely.
But you talk about the winning attitudes, in the face of adversity. And we're just saying earlier, adversity comes in different forms, It might not be cancer, it could be an event. You might lose your job, that's a life-changing that's adversity. That's a rug being swept under your feet.
Yes.
I was saying to you earlier, I've got one friend of mine, she was at 35 years old, a high flyer in her career, accounting, all these accounting guys are very focused. At 35, she was the CFO of the central bank in her country, the director of finance. And one day, she walked into a surgery. It's supposed to be an uneventful 15-minute surgery.
Yeah.
And guess what? She woke up in ICU.
Wow.
I mean, the doctor was saying, hey, don't want. She was like, no, this is year end. I've got presentations. Can't we just do this later? The doctor was like, no, man, you can even do your presentations tomorrow. But guess what? I mean, she 2 months in hospital, couldn't do anything for her in the hospital. They couldn't even find out what was wrong with her, like what exactly had gone wrong in that hospital, in that theater. She ended up, it took probably another month just to get a diagnosis. She had to fly out of the country, go to another country to get a diagnosis. And they told her, hey, it's going to take 6 to 8 months for you to recover. She couldn't walk. I mean, it's amazing, right? And she came back from those doctors' visit out of the country, and she had no choice but to resign. And you can imagine, you're saying, I'm going to go to work tomorrow. You're not prepared for it. I mean, you are not prepared for it. You were just going about your day, doing the responsible thing, getting, regular checkups, and this happened. I mean, how do you deal with because I mean, for her, and I don't know for you if there were those thoughts, but I mean, with these negative events, with loss, with everything, I mean, she had to shelve her career, she had to resign. How do you deal with the regret, with the loss, with the disappointment, anger, frustration, bitterness, especially if there are other people involved? I mean, there were obviously these doctors involved, who had botched this operation. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Because it's an internal war.
Well, I mean, I can only speak from my experience. Because as I went through that treatment for those 18 months, I was constantly thinking of how do I positively face each day. If I knew I was going to see my doctor, I was going to see the oncologist. Okay, how was I going to face this day in a positive way, in such a way that I didn't come out depressed, because the chances of getting depressed when you are walking that journey are very high.
Wow.
And so I decided to choose certain attitudes to work by or to go with as I walk this journey, which ended up being the attitudes I came up with in the book. And the first one was my unique identity. I am unique, and that came up because the doctors, of course, had said, because your brothers had died of cancer, you're also going to die of cancer. But as I thought about it, I said, my name is David. My two brothers were Edward and Charles.
Wow.
Right? So I'm different from Edward and Charles. Yes, they died of cancer. Yes, they are my brothers. They were my brothers. But does that mean that I also have to die of cancer?
Wow.
Or to accept that I'm going to die of cancer? I said, well, I'm here. I'm still alive. I'll take a shot and say, no, I'm not going to die of cancer, at least not yet.
Wow.
Because I want to fight this. And so I was different from my brothers. I had this unique identity,
Yeah.
And therefore, there are thousands of people all over the world who've also got cancer. And they are dealing with it in their own unique way as unique individuals. And that actually inspired me to start looking for books. I went on the internet and I visited bookshops, looking for books about people who had the same challenges, as close to my thing as possible, and find out how had they dealt with it, especially those who were able to overcome it.
Wow.
And I think think that was a powerful insight, you know, because I did that and I came across some books and one of them was How to Fight Cancer and Win. I can't remember exactly the name of the author, but I think it was Gelatini or something.
Okay.
You know, how to fight prostate cancer and win. And that became my more or less everyday read. I read that book finding out exactly how he did it. But the key thing was I found that also it was the mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset was number one. Because where you put your mind and say, this is how I'm going to think as I approach this, and you choose a positive mindset, then that's going to empower you, to energize you, to help you to be more creative in terms of how you go about fighting the challenge that you are facing.
So the first thing is to say, I'm unique.
I'm unique.
That's the first attitude.
Yes.
Second one?
The second one is I'm my own best friend. I'm my own best friend. Because I realized at the time, of course, I was living with my wife. Our kids had all grown up and they were gone. And sometimes my wife had to go to school. I was also working.
Yeah.
I was actually going to work, and I'd been told that because of the treatment I was going to go through, the chances are very high that I was going to get to a point where after going through radiation for a few days, I would not be able to go to work. But fortunately for me, that didn't happen. I was going to work every day until the end of my treatment.
Wow.
And so on. But, you know, I realized that it was good to rely, of course, on my wife, but I couldn't ask her to stop what she was doing. She was going to school, she was about to finish a degree in Western herbal medicine, and my sons and daughters were they're on different places or countries for that matter, and so I thought about who am I going to rely on?
Yeah.
Right? I belonged to a church, and very good people there. Some of them, they came to my house and they were praying for me. But in the end, I said to myself, ultimately, the results I'm going to get, right, my success is not dependent on all these people. It's about how I choose to help myself as I walk this journey, how I choose to be my own best friend.
Yes.
And to be in the forefront of looking for all the possible ways in which I can stay positive and I can give myself a high chance of winning this war. Wow. And so I said I have to read as many positive books as possible. The book I was talking about how to fight prostate cancer and win. Affirmations, I begin to come up with affirmations. You know, these powerful, positive, present tense statements, speaking as if I'm already healed, I'm already. And I began to do all that. And of course, to listen to positive messages, CDs, and whatnot. And that made a huge difference, because after 3 or so weeks, I found that actually I was on that thinking level or frequency, if you want, where I was positive. And my doctor in the end said, our family doctor, because I was consulting with her every week, regarding my cancer situation. And she ended up saying, you come in here, you have got cancer, and I'm supposed to be, encouraging you, inspiring you to say, hey, go on. But you come in here and you are so positive that even for me, because I've come from home, I've got my own challenges.
Wow.
And sometimes I'm in a very negative frame of mind. But you come in here, we get talking, and by the time you leave, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling positive.
Wow.
She said, please carry on with the way you're thinking.
Wow.
Because that might give you a chance of overcoming this challenge.
Wow. And I like that what you're saying, that you're your own best friend. Of course, our loved ones can do the best they can.
Yes.
And they are also dealing with their own trauma.
Yes.
In the sense that they have to take care of you, and in the sense that they are dealing with your possible loss.
Yes.
They are dealing with your illness, which they can't do anything about.
Absolutely.
So and even if you have got the best support system, but if you yourself are not good to yourself, then it's not going to work, right? So all around you can be all positive or all support, but if you yourself are negative within, and I think that's one thing my friend was saying. He was saying that until she could let go of those negative emotions, that bitterness, that anger, regret, that's when she could actually begin that journey of healing externally. That's where she would actually receive from whatever methods they were doing, the biokinetics and all these things. But she had to let go of that internal strife which was there. So it's very important, to take care of yourself internally. And I believe that's why you didn't fall sick with the radiotherapy, and you could continue, and where others, so the difference between you and others could just be that the mental attitude. It might not be the physical, what's happening to you physically because of the treatment, of the radiation, but maybe it could just be, the mindset, because that's the only difference, right? The treatment is the same.
Treatment
but what was different, or what you can say, at least in your situation, was that your mindset was different. So what's the third one? And how many winning attitudes are there, by the way?
There are 8.
Yeah, 8. So guys, you're going to need to go and get this book. Because our time is fast spent.
Yes.
But you're going to need to, I'm going to put the link in the description below, where you can get the book, Winning Attitudes in the Face of Adversity. And I'm also going to put the link, to your business with your wife with regards to, as you're saying, she was studying, the alternative medicines. If someone wants that, we'll put the link there. Sure. Then they can connect with you guys and inquire, consult and hear, this might work for you, at the end of the day. Thank you, David, very much, for coming and sharing your story.
My pleasure.
I know there's so much more that we can share. There's so much more that we can do. So guys, man, no matter what situation you're facing, it is real. It's a real situation you're going through, but there is abundance. There is hope. So guys, man, have an awesome day, man, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers, bye.
Thank you.